We are gathered here once again to reflect together on the year that we've just had on 2021. I would like to acknowledge our Principal and Vice Chancellor, Professor Puleng Lenkabula. I would like to also acknowledge our Chairperson of Council, Mr. Mabue, members of the Executive Management of the University, all our students joining us today, and members of staff here with us. We are here to reflect. We are here to look at the challenges that we've had, but most importantly, we are also here to celebrate and to also look at the achievements that we've had as a university. I would like to also take this moment to acknowledge all the UNISA students who will be receiving their Excellence Awards this morning. The university congratulates you on a magnificent performance of which you can be proud of, as we are as a university. And now, ladies and gentlemen, without wasting any time, I would like to invite Professor M.S. Motata, the University Registrar, to deliver the welcoming address. Prof, over to you.
Program Director, thank you very much for this opportunity to deliver this welcome address. Chairperson of the UNISA Council, Mr. James Mabua, Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, Professor Puleng Lenkabula, members of the executive and extended management teams, student leadership and all our students, colleagues from all portfolios in the university in Macroneck, Science Campus, Sunnyside, and our colleagues from all the 6 regions and the 20 regional service centers within the Republic, our colleagues in Ethiopia, welcome to this important occasion. I believe you are already waiting with bated breath and excitement to receive the Principal and Vice Chancellor's address on the occasion of the official closing of the academic year 2021 of the University of South Africa. Unusual, perhaps, that I should welcome you in your own home, but I welcome you mainly because this is one of the times when we come together, though virtually, as the entire family, to hear our leaders speak about a year that is almost done. This is a time when we easily remember and realize just how big and wide and far-reaching we are. A time when we remember that we are sitting in all corners of the country and that we are a diverse but unified team. In my mind, this is also a seminal juncture to hear our Principal and Vice Chancellor's views and feedback at the same time on how we have performed in 2021. Perhaps Steve Coppell's quotation is quite apt, in an open quote. At the end of the day, it's all about what's on the shelf at the end of the year, close quote. At this point, it is heartwarming that I acknowledge that some amongst us will today be decorated with college graduate excellence, as well as Senate and Council Excellence Awards. Not only will they have something to place on their own shelves at the end of this day, but they would have left something on UNISA's shelf of continuously striving to deliver excellent service at the end of the year. This is also one in which the Principal and Vice Chancellor will give us glimpses of the expectations and objectives of 2022, but also of the next few years. Today, the 10th of December, 2021, is the 344th day of the year 2021, leaving us with a mere 21 days before we usher 2022 in, and an even shorter 14 days before we shut our doors for the festive season. So much has happened in the past 49 weeks. So much remains to be done until we have reached week 51. Today also marks the 624th day of the Republic of South Africa's COVID-19 lockdown. Just about 19 months ago, it was unthinkable that we would be operating the way we are now, remotely, and that we would have lost some of our colleagues, our students, our loved ones, and friends to this virus. May their souls rest in eternal peace. In its own ways, 2021 seems to have been an eventful year, and I'm certain that Prof. Lenkabula's address will highlight this. Unlike some amongst us, every year has something to say about itself by the time it reaches its end. A year does not float by quietly, insignificantly, and without making an impact. It does not pass by oblivious to the fact that it will be followed by another. A year always lives to its fullest, regardless of whether we as humans are happy or disappointed with it. It leaves an indelible mark, always. In welcoming you, may I request that you all listen to our leaders, both the Chairperson of Council, Mr. Mabua, and the Principal and Vice Chancellor's official closing addresses.
Thank you very much, Professor Motata, for the wonderful words of welcome. I'm sure, ladies and gentlemen, we are all feeling welcome, and now we can relax and enjoy the rest of the proceedings. Now we're going to move, as I said, we are here to reflect, to look at 2021. What is it that we achieved, all the milestones that we have achieved as the university? We're going to have a multimedia presentation which highlights some of the activities that we've had as the university this year. The university focuses on the university's core business achieved during the year 2021. I would like to invite you to sit back, relax, and join us as we collectively reflect on the trends and successes of a year that brought many challenges, but also opportunities. Enjoy the UNISA highlights for 2021.
The inauguration and investiture of Professor Puleng Lenkabula as UNISA Principal and Vice Chancellor was a historical moment as she became the first woman, the first Black woman, and only the third Black person to be appointed as the head of the institution in its 148 years of existence. Speaking at the ceremony, Mashukudu James Mabua, Chairperson of the UNISA Council, who was also appointed to the position in 2021, welcomed the Vice Chancellor to the UNISA fold. He said that she is committed to knowledge production, innovation, and the advancement of socio-economic development in South Africa, Africa and the world, to the benefit of Africa in particular. Lauding the Vice Chancellor's appointment, Dr. Thabo Mbeki, former President of South Africa and the Chancellor of UNISA, said, "I do not doubt that in our VC we have an outstanding woman whose leadership will put shame to misogyny. We as UNISA are proud of what we have done when we appointed the very first woman to lead this nearly 150-year-old institution." Following the inauguration, UNISA hosted a colloquium themed Reclaiming Africa's Intellectual Futures. Leading local and international scholars, academics, renowned thinkers, and commentators participated and lauded Lenkabula's appointment. Hitting the ground running, the Vice Chancellor went out into the world to explore and establish opportunities for UNISA on the continent and further afield. Leading senior UNISA teams on these missions, she set the tone for her term of office. Highlights included an engagement with academic, aviation, science, diplomatic, business and government executives in Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous country. Collaboration talks with the German embassy to establish global academic partnerships and sustain quality education. A meeting with the Côte d'Ivoire Minister of Commerce and Industry to discuss economic growth and structural transformation. Participation in the Intra-African Trade Fair 2021, which is regarded as the key event boosting trade in Africa. The Vice-Chancellor also met with the former President of Nigeria to discuss wide-ranging ideas on how to market UNISA in the rest of the continent. In 2021, UNISA once again made an immense contribution of South Africa's intellectual capital. South Africa's finest successfully concluded their qualifications at UNISA. During the course of the year, the university awarded 46,305 degrees, diplomas and certificate qualifications. This total includes 239 doctoral and 644 master's degrees. In a major contribution by local researchers to provide homegrown solutions in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, UNISA's Dr. Salere Musibi worked with mineral research giant Mintech to develop rapid antigen detecting and antibody detecting tests with a remarkable 20-minute turnaround time. The UNESCO Chair of Open Distance Learning at UNISA co-hosted an international webinar aimed at addressing many of the challenges facing university in South Africa and across the world as they respond to the COVID-19 crisis. Close to 73,000 students registered for the new booking app that limits access to campus buildings to the required number by law and to the maximum number a venue is authorized to take. The university's flagship online support program is yet another significant contribution to dealing with the study challenges posed by the pandemic. It offers support to 25,000 master's and doctoral candidates along with 28,000 honors level students within the university. Featuring the state-of-the-art equipment, the UNISA Biomechanics Laboratory is the only such facility selected in Africa to be part of a global project addressing an experimental characterization of biological tissues. This is a key component in solving health challenges and curing various diseases. A UNISA team of researchers has been working to change the status quo of implementing new energy technologies in Africa, and the NRF has recognized their scientific contribution to society by awarding them the Science Team Award. UNISA's 2021 Teaching and Learning E-Festival reaffirmed that the institution is a committed student-centric university that partners with the state, society, and the continent by ensuring that through knowledge, societies can become transformed for the better. At its 12th annual Nelson Mandela Commemoration Day, UNISA drove the discourse of the institution's vision of engaged scholarship as a critical asset in nation building, sustainable development, COVID-19 disaster management and recovery efforts. After 8 days of high-caliber performances, the third UNISA National Strings Competition culminated in a magnificent finale with the announcement of the winners of both classical and jazz categories. The level of musicianship in this competition was extraordinary, making the task of the jury extremely difficult. Students, alumni, and staff who succumbed to COVID-19 during 2021 were remembered and honored. UNISA joined the music industry and the rest of the country in mourning the passing of South African jazz legend, opera icon, vocalist par excellence, and a member of the UNISA family. Sibongile Khumalo. At the end of the year, in which the UNISA family overcame numerous challenges with great fortitude and determination and took the institution to new heights through unparalleled professional effort, the university's Vice-Chancellor, Council and Executive Management wish our staff, students and alumni a peaceful, joyous and safe festive season and a prosperous 2022.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure you have seen the many activities that the university had this year. We have had a very busy year indeed, and I'm sure we're all looking forward to resting after the end of such a busy year. And we are indeed delighted that we could reflect together, that we could look back together, that we could see what we have achieved collectively as the members of the university. And now I would like to take this moment to invite our Chairperson of Council, Mr. MJ Mabua, to provide the remarks for us. Mr. Mabua, over to you, sir.
Program Director, Professor Puleng Sekgalo, Principal and Vice Chancellor of UNISA, Professor Puleng Lenkabula, fellow members of UNISA Council in attendance, Vice Principals, Executive Deans, Deputy Executive Deans, Executive Directors, and other members of extended management in attendance, academics, support staff, and students in attendance, fellow UNISANs, ladies and gentlemen. It is my singular honor and privilege to address this auspicious gathering of the university community, the 2021 official closing of the academic year. Every year, we hold this ceremony to take stock and reflect on the year that has been. As we reflect on the 2021 academic year, we do so against the backdrop of a few unique and unprecedented developments and dynamics in the country, in the higher education sector, and in the university itself. At a national level, the country, and indeed the world, we are still in the grip of a ravaging COVID-19 pandemic. This pandemic, now entering its second year, has forced humanity to rethink the way it does things in almost all spheres of life. No sector of the economy or sphere of life was immune from this imposed new way of doing things. The higher education sector was no exception either, and circumstances compelled us to quickly review our teaching and learning and student support approaches, and to quickly adapt to more digital methods, especially with regard to our student support and assessment services. Let us also take this moment to dip our banners in memory of the scores of ordinary South Africans, frontline workers, as well as fellow staff members and students of UNISA who succumbed to COVID-19. We extend sincerest condolences to their families, friends, and loved ones. We also express our sincere gratitude for the recoveries made by many who survived this virus, as well as with those who are currently ill or infected with the virus, a speedy recovery. We are confident that in the end, humanity shall triumph against this adversary called COVID-19. At the university level, we started the year with a new principal and vice chancellor at the helm of the university. This meant that we, as council, were faced with the task of ensuring that our new VC is fully and adequately onboarded and integrated into the management and oversight value chain of the university. Together with the new VC and her team, we also set on the path of ensuring that the university achieves set goals and targets in line with the rethinking, reimagining, and realignment trajectory of our strategy. As council, we can say without any fear of contradiction that we have the fullest confidence that our new VC is leading the university on the right path towards the realization of our vision. We are equally fortunate that in Professor Lenkabula, we have appointed somebody who is a product of this university in both her work and student life, and that when she rejoined the university at its head, she already had the DNA of this university coursing through her veins. As we look back, we also acknowledge that it has not been an easy year for our university in the mainstream and social media domains. From the beginning of the year and until recently, there has been a relentless onslaught in the media space against the university. Led and orchestrated by bitter naysayers and critics of the university, these attacks were deliberate, designed to cast aspersions on the stature and integrity of our university and its officials, as well as undermine the value of our qualifications. By countering their gossips with sheer facts and working on continually improving our service to our stakeholders, we continue to weather the storm. 2 months ago, a so-called report to Minister Nzimande by the Ministerial Task Team on the independent review of UNISA was leaked in the public domain. Quite clearly, the leaking of this report was intended to feed into the continued frenzy of attacks against the university and to sow panic and distrust amongst our internal and external stakeholders. As council, we want to reiterate our position that our discussions with the minister and the department on the state and future of the university will only happen through official channels of communication and not through the media, and certainly not based on unofficial reports. We also appeal for calm amongst our stakeholders, especially staff and students, and assure you that the matter is receiving the necessary attention and through correct channels. Madam VC, we recognize that a lot of progress and improvement have been made by the university during the academic year under review. Amongst other things, we applaud the steady progress being made by improving our university rankings, improvements with the management of enrollment targets, as well as impressive manner in which the university is managing the new digital teaching and learning environment, especially the move from venue-based exams to online exams, and the use of the digital device as a primary platform for learning. We also believe that more can still be done, and we have the confidence that next year and many years after, the university team will push the envelope as it aims to even better performance. As council, we will provide all the required support to ensure success in the mission to reposition and recenter the academic project, as well as to ensure student success. At the last council sitting, we reappointed our current Chancellor, His Excellency, Dr. Thabo Mbeki, for a second term as Chancellor of UNISA. The fact that this eminent son of the African soil and revered leader on the continent and globally has agreed to continue in this selfless role is a further affirmation and stamp of approval that ours remain a brand worthy of respect. We now have the duty of making sure that we live up to his known and reputable standards. We can only achieve this by lifting the standards of our performance and delivery to our primary stakeholders. As a parting shot, please allow me to recognize in advance this year's winners of the College of Graduate Excellence Awards and Senate and Council Excellence Awards, which will be announced later during the ceremony. On behalf of Council, we congratulate you on this achievement and hope that it will inspire both yourselves and others in the university to continue to excel in your respective areas of work. It is through excellence and hard work that we will leave a good and lasting impression in the hearts and minds of our stakeholders. We wish you and your loved ones a happy and peaceful festive break. Stay safe and return in the new year with renewed vigor. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mabua, for the insightful notes, the insightful moments, and also just the insightful issues that you've raised for us to think about as the members of the university. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to invite our principal and vice chancellor, Professor Puleng Lenkabula, to come and deliver the principal's address. Professor Puleng Lenkabula, over to you.
Thank you, Program Director, for inviting me to the closing ceremony of the 2021 academic year. Your Excellency, President Thabo Mbeki, the Chancellor of the University of South Africa, the Chairperson of Council, Mr. James Mabua, and members of Council here present, our Executive Management of the University of South Africa, Professor Veronica McKay, Acting Vice Principal, Teaching, Learning, Community Engagement, and Student Support, Professor Tenjiwe Maiwa, Vice Principal, Research, Postgraduate Studies, Innovation, and Commercialization, Professor Kehla Ndlovu, responsible for Strategy, Professor Ukhobu, responsible for HR, DEA, and other departments, the University Registrar, Professor Stuart Mutata, members of the diplomatic corps representing various countries in South Africa, fellow members of the University Executive and Extended Management, recipients of various family awards and your family members, members of the university community, student representative councils, students from various student structures and universities, distinguished members of the audience, staff, academics, professional, administrative staff watching in various social media platforms. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good day, good evening, depending on where you are in the world. Program Director, thank you for giving me the opportunity to address the university community on this occasion of the official closing of the 2021 academic calendar at the University of South Africa. The official closing ceremony is normally an opportunity to reflect back on the year that was and reflect honestly on its challenges, failures, opportunities, and accomplishments. Today marks the official closing of 2021 academic year. The official closing ceremony is normally this opportunity that we reflect honestly around what ought to be, what should have been, and what must be for the future. I'm proud that as the university, we have accomplished many areas, and we are set to improve these developments in 2022. Program Director, you'll recall that the theme for 2021 was reclaiming Africa's intellectual futures and accelerating transformation during and in the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic. We had to ensure that as we reflected on the present, that we cast our eyes into the future, lest we are burdened by the current COVID-19 pandemic. This was deliberately chosen theme to signal the beginning of a new chapter in the university history and hopefully its operations that would be underpinned by the commitment to accelerating transformation as occasioned by the advent of the persistent COVID-19 that is showing signs of not relenting. We were intentional in choosing this theme, and this is because we are of the view that as a university, our commitment to the academic program and the idea that UNISA must be at the center of South Africa's knowledge production, its co-construction of its innovation systems through knowledge, research, teaching and learning, and engaged scholarships become important arena for our university. But we also take into cognizance African intellectuals and scholars who have contributed to the global arena that remind us that knowledge production is framed by intellectual commitment. And Zeleza reminds us that this refers to the prevailing paradigms, the ideological in terms of the dominant and competing ideologies at a given moment, the institutional as far as the nature and organization of the university is concerned, and finally, individual, our own social biographies with reference to our genders, race, nationality, class, religion, politics, and as well, the disciplines and knowledge areas that we focus on. Institutional change also occurs at the intersections of these dynamics out of the concrete social struggles within and outside the academy, among the university's ever expanding and shifting constituencies. Change, in short, does not emanate from the analytic prescriptions or rhetorical declarations that sometimes are made in universities, however compelling. However, they are constructed by desired futures that is not a wasteful exercise, but which inspire action for ideas constituting an indispensable part of our practice and praxis. In addition, colleagues will recall that the official opening of the 2021 academic year, I stated that our university opening today takes place within the trying circumstances, the deadly COVID-19 pathogen virulently continuing to wreak havoc, mutating and reconstituting itself into more fervent variants, its hazardous persistence and negative impact in South Africa, the African continent, and the world has brought unimaginable pain. Not only has it disrupted economies and social systems, it has also equally dislocated the core mandates and businesses of many sectors, institutions, and lives. And sadly, it has taken away many lives of loved ones locally and globally, including some members of our council, students, staff, colleagues, friends, families, and strangers. And at this point, colleagues, I'd like us to take a moment to remember the fallen heroes and sheroes and the fallen members of our society who lost lives because of this pandemic. The pandemic is not only disrupting and impacting our lives, but it is also affecting universities, though differently. For example, Zeleza contends that African universities are amongst the most affected and least able to manage the multi-pronged crisis because of their pre-existing capacity challenges that centered on 10 dimensions, mainly institutional supply, financial resources, human capital, research output, physical and technological infrastructures, leadership and governance, academic cultures, quality of graduates, patterns of internationalization, and global ranking. As you can imagine, the impact of COVID-19 is multi-layered and multidimensional, which will require appropriate and holistic approaches for our university to ensure its sustainability. In the context of South Africa, the pandemic has exacerbated existing and historical crises within the post-school education and training system. Badat captures these crises aptly when he argues that contemporary South African higher education is in a state of what he calls organic crisis. He describes this in this way. Economic dimensions of the crisis relate to underfunding and inadequate financial aid with negative implications for social equity, justice, and economic or social development. Ideological dimensions of the crisis entail implementation of neoliberal economic and social policies which are based on market values and sometimes undermine the ideas of academic freedom, the ideas of the logics of discovery, of research, and the scholarship of engagement and global impact, which we should pay attention to. The political dimensions of the crisis include the failure of higher education to be more equitable, contributing effectively to social justice because the economic exigencies within which the teaching and learning, research and engagement are taking place, as well as the legacies or remnants of colonization and apartheid, and sometimes our own systems of mismanaging the democratic dividend and the transformations that universities ought to make. As the discussion or my ideas above indicate, the year 2021 had many challenges and opportunities. I first want to speak about the challenges so that at least we can conclude with the good, hopeful message around the opportunities and the accomplishments that we made. So let me give some of the challenges that we experienced in the academic agenda, in the efforts to creating progressive, transformative institutional cultures, but also the support departments that enhance or enrich the academic program. The first challenge that I want to speak to is that of the context of the pandemic, which I've already spoken about, that has also positioned us in a vulnerable, but also in a possible competitive edge. The competitiveness in this space call for our intensification and investment in resources in making UNISA a truly comprehensive, open, distance, e-learning plus university and institution of excellence, particularly taking into cognizance that this modality that we invented here at home in South Africa, but for the world, that of distance learning, is now an area of competition and a requisite for many private and other institutions, whether public or scientific. Related to these preceding aspects, there's been concerns regarding outsourced IntelliMali and its service to students, especially students who are dependent on aid or public financing from CETAs and from the NSFAS. The concerns have arisen from students that the services they have had have been disabling of their success, access, and success in the academic processes, as sometimes these services have been slowed up. The concerns also have not just been made by the students themselves in their cry for good services by UNISA and its partners in supporting them, but they've also come from the Office of the Human Rights Commission here at home, from the Public Protector Office, including the investigations that they have undertaken at UNISA around the support services that we offer the students, especially NSFAS students in 2020, 2019, and 2018, as well as the work that is underway in 2021 and the future. These are important and urgent matters that require resolving so that student access and student success are not just aspects that UNISA speaks about, but we ensure that they're in the practice and the services that we offer to the students. There have been opportunistic tendencies in the institutional culture by some individual, sometimes collectives within the university. Some have taken advantage of this difficult period of COVID-19, where they played truant, not done their part, not worked, not come to work, nor even participate in online efforts that the university has put in place so that productivity and the support of students takes place. I want to report that such cultures have festered and cannot in future be tolerated. It is very important that we locate that the university has provided the requisite infrastructures, such as availing vaccination sites, as well as access to rapid COVID testing, as well as the PPEs, including making the environment of work, as well as the tools of work to being available. However, multiplicities of challenges are still recognized where some members of staff do not come to work, or if they don't come to work, even when there are scarce skills necessary to be present to work in order to advise and support the students and play through. And I must state, colleagues, that this will not be tolerated, whether people use combat, violence, or even denigrating language to management or to their managers, including other colleagues. Related to these colleagues, we have to bear in mind that there are certain services that can only be performed on campus. We thus need to learn to live, but safely as possible, with the multimodal normal. For the virtual cannot always make up for everything. As social beings, that there are aspects of our work as a university that will require presence and multimodality, and these are important aspects and challenges that we face. There's also an entitlement culture, colleagues, in some sectors or quarters of UNISA's epistemic communities that have to be stemmed. The cultures of bullying, of harassment, of contributing overtly or subtly in the perpetuation of sexism, racism, homophobia, xenophobia, and intentionally undermining the statutory obligations of the various institutional structures are important areas for our attention. A toxic institutional culture will not be tolerated, and thus we have to all conduct ourselves within the statutory, legislative, policy, but also the cultural and ethical context of values that our university, within the context of our country, affirm. The need for a harmonious working relationship between all stakeholders and management cannot be underemphasized. It is a need, not a want, for our university can only succeed if management, administrative staff, academic staff, and professional staff, as well as students, alumni, and multiplicities of publics engaged well together in order that this university becomes a success, and our students also succeed. 7, student support is key and in line with our key institutional values. Responsive student-centeredness reflects university's commitment to recognizing, cultivating, and promoting the interests of the views of the students, especially their lived experiences and prior learning, in order to achieve academic access and success in a comprehensive open distance e-learning context. Noteworthy is the fact that UNISA, especially in recent years, has started to carry a youthful phase. One of the challenges faced by the preceding categories of students, especially in the context of restricted COVID-19 lockdown levels, have been the lack of access to the requisite infrastructures. One should pause here to appreciate the resilience of our students in navigating the challenges with courage and hope, in spite of the many challenges that they faced. Students' resiliency and ability to adapt to a university experience that they could not have anticipated because of COVID-19 should be applauded. You all have shown great resolve and strength as our students, and you should be very proud of what you have accomplished. You will be able to adapt quickly when UNISA opens its doors in 2022, and our administrative and staff will also be able to adapt and to ensure that we ensure resourcefulness and support to ensure that connectivity, but also opportunities to our infrastructures are available. The skewed remuneration system between members of the academic support staff and professional staff remain a challenge that keeps me sleepless at night, as well as management, because we do not want to preside in context of social injustices without taking the requisite decisions as management. Processes towards resolving this challenge are underway, and consultations with the relevant statutory requirements, including in labor relations systems, will be undertaken. 9, the high attrition rates of our students, those who are the main reason that the university exists for, these in whom the future of our society lie, remain a serious cause for concern. Thus, all of us, staff of UNISA, governance structures, students, alumni, must work together in order that the students are able to succeed in their pursuit for the academic excellence. The university has been struggling with non-compliance regarding enrollment targets for some time. For 2021, it was further exacerbated by the outcome of the court case lodged by the EFF Student Command and the BLA Student Chapter against the Department of Higher Education, as well as UNISA. The final challenge that I want to speak about refers to the Constitutional Court ruling on the university language policy and its implications. I must state categorically clear that University of South Africa is committed to ensuring that African languages are resourced to becoming the languages of teaching, of innovation, of research, of communication, and thus of curriculum development and its articulation. Whilst we take and respect the court outcome, it is important as we embed English language or Afrikaans in these categories, we will ensure that they are not used to undermine the importance of African languages, and thus we will continue the trajectory of improving these languages as we try to ensure that we comply with the law and the court outcome. At this point, colleagues, I want to smile and celebrate with you as the university community, and thank you as the staff, students, our council, institutional forum, student representative council, and other statutory environments that made the academic year in its academic processes, but also management, operations, and governance processes to gain some successes. I would like to highlight some of these. I'd like to state that we were able to ensure that we provided access to online and digital teaching systems to improve our policies, but also our teaching and learning. In this regard, I can refer to the success in conducting online examinations by using innovative technologies, including proctoring systems, invigilation systems, and support systems that ensured that the credibility, the quality, and the invigilation or integrity of our assessment processes cannot be questioned. And that's something that we should be proud of, because not many universities nor basic education institutions have succeeded in completing their academic year. It is precisely because we are a comprehensive open distance university that has taken into cognizance the innovations in the 4.0 industrialization, as well as in the commitment for transformation of our society through education, as our former President Mandela avers, that we were committed to ensuring these successes. The second highlight that I would like to share with you is our attempt to improving students' experience. For example, we created an intranet site called Help Student, and we must appreciate the efforts of the Dean of Students, Dr. Oletu Spuka, for providing quality services with his team in student affairs, for advising students to send direct messages on social media to enhance the student experience, and for taking seriously the concerns alongside with DIA, headed by Professor Dr. Mokhobu and Professor Grace Puno, and others who committed to ensuring that our communication with the primary stakeholder and the service support relevant are enacted through the registrar's office as well. On the other hand, the College of Graduate Studies, in conjunction with ICT, developed an online solution to enhance supervision and progress monitoring for master's and doctoral students, as well as adopting postgraduate centered support posture as a way of incorporating the 4.0 imperatives into our support system. One must, in this regard, report the project by CGS to incorporate quality assurance into postgraduate students' engagement across all colleges. Collaboration is also another critical element that we've accomplished through intra-college, intra-departmental, and cross-functional activities. In this regard, we're happy to report that the collaborations between the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences and the College of Science, Engineering, and Technology to join forces and start a research group to tackle the challenges of multi-drug resistant tuberculosis is to be welcomed, but as well other ideas and research that we are going to be announcing in 2022. In 2021, we've witnessed a lot of research dealing with the impact of COVID-19 pandemic from medical, social, economic, and religious, social, and spiritual perspective from various researchers in the multiple environments in research. In terms of Times Higher Education subject ranking, UNISA showed a lot of improvement in performance as benchmarked against other universities, which include African universities and other comprehensive open distance e-learning universities. Evidently, the academic and professional support staff have made great strides in driving academic projects through these and other initiatives. The university hosted several conferences successfully. For example, there was one to address sustainable solutions for ODL during global crisis, as well as teaching and learning festival, supply chain festival, public service and public affairs conference, and many others. We also appreciate the noticeable progress in curriculum transformation in the majority of colleges that involve incorporation of African languages, South African languages into the contents of different programs through translanguaging, but also strengthening of languages. We had multiplicities of excellent public lectures, including publications associated with, and therefore, I'm happy that we held the memorial lectures successfully to honor South African icons from different spaces, not just political backgrounds, but also economic, social, political party liberation movement, as well as multidisciplinary disciplines. For instance, the 21st Annual Biko Memorial Lecture honored Nkosi Albert Lutuli, Mphatlele Annual Lecture, The Responsibility of the African Scholar in Season of Anomy, addressed by Professor Adebayo Olokoshi, webinar on Eskia Mphatlele, Mangaliso Robert, and the Founders Lecture with the theme, Explorations in Reclaiming Africa's Futures, the Sources of Humanities, amongst others. I also want to state that important days in the institutional calendar of the university, the Thabo Mbeki School hosted the International Women's Day event, where I was able and others to address gendered perspectives of the university. We had the 5th SAWID UN Women Dialogue themed towards peace and gender equality, collective legacies, and co-creative solutions by us, African women, as well as in conversations with others in the global arena, which was graced by leading figures such as the Executive Director of UN Women, Dr. Phumzile Mlambo-Ngcuka, Ms. N. Githuki Shonge, Me Zanele Mbeki, and many others advocates of gender justice, transformation, social justice, and microfinance in our country. UNISA Women's Forum was one of the leading environments for ensuring public participation of the academy in societal issues, including in projecting feminist, womanist, Busadi, and other social justice and women-centered or inclusive modalities for engagements in the academic arena. I must also state that the university celebrated NRF ratings that have improved in 2021 that demonstrate that the knowledge production, including the numbers of researchers who are rated at A, B, C, and Y, are improving at UNISA. And I want to congratulate all the academics that have done us so proud in the National Research Foundation, but also the HSRC awards and many other international and local awards. I must state that we've also ensured that the leadership awards are important arena for recognizing our staff and academics. The UNISA Foundation continues to provide students with necessary financial support. For this year, the foundation was able to provide 500 laptops to deserving students. This is appreciated. It is my wish that more deserving students will be assisted in order that we broaden access for students, especially from poor socioeconomic backgrounds, to meet and mediate the digital divide. I've also wished to highlight that the collaboration with other universities, especially university estates, which were facilitated by the registrar, are yielding important models for decentralization, for utilizations of regions as sites of academic excellence, for the partnerships with industry, as well as the ideas of being relevant in society. I'm about to conclude, Program Director. It was important that I identify the challenges and the highlights for the university, lest we miss out on what has been happening. It is important to mention that close to 50% of the teachers in South Africa are produced by the University of South Africa College of Education. It is also important to recognize that this impact in the teachers in our country, but also in the global arena. Another interesting appreciation is taking place in the College of Law, where in teaching and strengthening collaboration with African universities, on matters relating to law and African legal systems that are indigenous are taking place, including over 200 students, master's and doctoral students in Eritrea, Ethiopia, and other countries in the world that are associated with the Eritrea campus, so with the Ethiopia campus at UNISA. We've also appointed an exciting, youthful Vice Principal Finance who has focused on ensuring that our financial systems, our demand systems, demand plan and procurement systems are at the service of the academic agenda. And thus, we hope that improvements in this area for the future will be noted. I'm of the view that we will require to take a closer look at the institutional culture, which in Mudiri's reflections suggest that our attempts to addressing institutional cultures will fail if we don't ensure that fundamental transformation in these spaces are taken into cognizance and therefore address the transformation imperatives that we require. We must ensure, therefore, that adherence to some of the critical values of the existence and sustainability of universities are asserted as per Zeleza, Mudiri, Mama, and others. This entails that first, academic freedom is one of the most important areas of universities for its inquiry by its faculty and students, and therefore the governance, procedural, policy systems must always work towards ensuring academic freedom and autonomy in research are supported. Second, it's shared governance, cooperative governance, that the white paper makes an important imperative for our participation and demarcation of rights, responsibilities, and decision systems within faculty or colleges, management, governing bodies, and the Vice Chancellor. Third, the diversities, equity, and inclusion, which are critical pathways and roles for social mobility and leadership. Fourth, civility and collegiality. I've already said this is an area of development for UNISA, and we will have to improve this as cultures of violence and sometimes of bullying have become institutionalized and will need to be uprooted. Universities must also ensure that they're regenerative, that they're rigorous, that they are financially prudent, and ensure that they create scholarship that is transformative. This is an important dimension that we cannot underestimate. Sixth, effective communication, colleagues, is very essential. We will recognize that sometimes these were our areas of challenge and we had to improve as a university where in communication with our students and staff was not strengthened, and thus commit to 2022 to ensuring that this is improved. I want the university to focus on enhancing student experience. I want to ensure that we are financially sustainable. I want to ensure that as a university, we're not just excited to getting into infrastructure, whether brick and mortar or digital, that others have created, but we as UNISA communities contribute to the development, co-creation of brick and mortar structures, digital structures, and knowledge base associated in order that the actual experiences of inventions are not just talked about, but we who come after 1994, the liberation era, are not just bequeathed with freedom, but create freedom that invest in invention, in creativity, but also in addressing the challenges of our times. Finally, I want to request us to understanding that the College of Accounting Sciences has also made us proud by ensuring that in the second sitting of the ITC exams, that they have produced 3 times the number of other universities put together. This is an important feat for us as a university because many of the students who are following the chartered accountancy track do not come from privileged environments. And this demonstrates the value of UNISA as an environment for attracting the most underprivileged, the privileged, the not so privileged, to ensure that they can contribute to building themselves, to building their society, and to building our university. I also want to recognize the important successes that this year the university approved the College of Agriculture farm, experimental farm that will make us competitive, that will improve our research, but that will ensure that work in that arena is translated into commercial products. And Professor Ntrasa and Professor Mahanu talk about pharmaceuticals, cosmeceuticals, and nutricals, which are going to be important outputs for that. Let me extend my appreciation to all of you. Let me invite you to enjoy the break that you're going to have, to use it to sigh, to regenerate, to think about the academic outputs and research that you're going to entail, including to ensuring that we who are privileged to being in universities do not forget the mandate to supporting our society as it looks into ensuring that freedom, democratic freedom, translates to economic transformation, to political freedom and choice and participation, but also to accountability. Such knowledge does not exist for itself, but knowledge can be translated and becomes a wise endeavor that all of us look towards pursuing. Thank you very much. Siyabonga, Kyaleboha. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Vice Chancellor. We are indeed delighted. As always, Prof, you provide very insightful reflections. You always remind us of the key points and the key issues that we always have to think about, always have to note as the UNISA community, and also our role in society, our role as academia. And we thank you once again. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the acknowledgement of the UNISA students who have excelled academically. We are now moving to the award ceremony, and it gives me great pleasure to invite our acting vice principal, teaching, learning, community engagement, and student support, Professor Vicky McKay, to assist us to give the following awards. Professor McKay will read out the name of all the students as they appear. It is recommended that the following receive awards in the category College Graduate Award, and these include the best results for a bachelor's degree and a 3-year undergraduate diploma, where these are offered. The selection was stratified by race, gender, and ability. And now I hand over to Professor McKay to continue with the reading of the names of the recipients.
Thank you so much, Program Director. And good day, everyone. I'm Professor Veronica Mackay, and I'm the Vice Principal for Teaching, Learning, Community Engagement, and Student Support. And it's my great honor to recommend the following candidates who will be receiving awards in the category the College Graduate Awards. Those students who obtained the best results in bachelor's and also in the 3-year undergraduate diplomas where these are offered. In the category of the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, the diploma awards go to Mrs. T.A. Sadler, Mrs. A.S. Hofsager, Ms. K.M. Price, Mr. T. Makola, Ms. S. Dube, and Ms. N. Van Sale. In the category of the College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences, the degree awards go to Mrs. T. Krief, Ms. K. Wakelin, Ms. C. van Rensburg, Ms. O.K.A. Natium, and Ms. N.D. Msimang. In the category of the College of Accounting Sciences, the Diploma Award goes to Mrs. C. E. Steele. In the College of Accounting Sciences, the degree awards go to Mr. R.T. Zwema, Mr. R.G. Crane, Ms. M.J. Lepavanch de Mazeres, Ms. M. Valda, Ms. D.R. Wigmore, and Ms. A.K. Hoffart. In the category of the College of Education, the degree awards go to Mrs. L. Risto, Ms. A. Patel, Ms. N. Jali, Ms. N. Ndlela, Ms. I. Kumalo, and Ms. S.P. Kunene. In the category of the College of Economic and Management Sciences, the Diploma Awards go to Ms. N. Weiss, Ms. P. Tswana, Ms. L. Winkholt, Ms. L. Smith, Ms. C.N. Hatswayo, and Ms. N.C. Shabangu. In the category of the College of Economic and Management Sciences, the degree awards go to Mrs. A. Westhuizen, Mrs. C. March, Mr. B.F. Blomendal, Mr. B.A. Oshman, Ms. Z.O.D. Mukele, and Ms. P.P.A. Nkonyane. In the category of the College of Human Sciences, the degree awards go to Ms. M.K. Hendrickse, Mrs. V.K.A. Werter-Tixier, Ms. H. Khan, Ms. P.N. Shongwe, Ms. M. Mateke, and Mr. P.S.C. Duprier. In the category of the College of Law, the Diploma Awards go to Ms. A. van der Berg, Mr. F. Mahlangu, Ms. G. Ndlovu, and Mr. P.L. Blau. In the category of the College of Law, the degree awards go to Mrs. Y. Murphy, Ms. S. Dennis, Mr. M.R. Machant, Ms. V. Panday, Ms. N.R. Mudal, and Ms. T. Tingo. In the category of the College of Science, Engineering and Technology, the diploma awards go to Mr. J. van der Westhuizen, Mr. E.H. Smith, Mr. T.T. Toriola, Mr. M.G. Wackenberg, and Mr. H. Fenter. In the category of the College of Science and Engineering and Technology, the degree awards go to Mr. V. Lars, Mrs. A. Gerba, Mr. J.J. Ekstien, Mr. W. K.G., Mr. O.K. Klale, and Ms. L. Mokwena. I would like now to congratulate all today's award winners. A hearty congratulations to all of you.
Thank you very much, Professor McKay, for the presentation of the awards. Once again, please join me in congratulating all the recipients of the awards for the year 2021. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the next category of awards, which is the Senate and Council Graduate Excellence Awards. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite Professor Tenjiwe Meiwa, our Vice Principal Research, Postgraduate Studies, Innovation, and Commercialization to present the Senate and Council Graduate Excellence Awards. Over to you, Professor Meiwa.
Thank you, Program Director, Professor Puleng Sekgalo. This is quite exciting. I now, as the Program Director has indicated, am presenting the Senate and Council Graduate Excellence Awards. It is recommended that the following candidates receive awards in the Senate Graduate Excellence Award category for best results for honors, Bachelor of Technology degree, and the postgraduate diploma in each college. And for the Council Graduate Excellence Awards, it shall be for the best results for Masters by Research and coursework, Masters in each college. I now present the recipients of the Senate Graduate Excellence Award, starting off with the Graduate School of Business Leadership. Honors Awards, Mr. B.M. Rousseau, Mr. P. Ramasamy, Ms. M. Rolfe. The Graduate School of Business Leadership Masters Awards, Mr. G. J. W. van Vanike, Mr. M. C. Musa. The College of Science, Engineering and Technology Honors Award, Mr. I. Mohammed, Mr. D. G. House, Mr. J.P. Janssen van Vuren. The College of Science, Engineering and Technology Masters Awards, Mr. K. Ndlovu, Mr. C.M. Mutsepa, Mr. S. Munebesha, and Mr. K. Mabude. The College of Law Honors Award, Mr. E. Kruger, Mr. D. de Klerk, and Mrs. M.I. Malangabe. The College of Law Masters Award, Mrs. M.L. Mel, Miss I. Bonachiville, Mr. J.R. Braham. The College of Human Sciences Honors Awards, Miss N. Prince, Miss E.S.B. Felion, Dr. J.A. Ferreira, Mr. D. Brown, Miss J. Krieger, Miss I. van der Berg, Miss T. Ngobeni, Miss C. Stratford, and Mrs. D. Dever. The College of Human Sciences Masters Awards, the awardees are Mr. M. Berkey, Mr. J. Janssen van Vuren, and Ms. C.M. Botma. The College of Economic and Management Sciences Award, the Honors Award, Ms. D. Smith, Mrs. N.J. Ibila, Mr. G.G.F. Di Stefano, Ms. G.C. Davis, Ms. A.B. Mekren, Ms. V. Majeke, Ms. G. Bailey, Mrs. N. Stradom Hansen, Ms. A.G. Lamb, and Ms. K.O. Royce. The College of Economic and Management Sciences Masters Award, Ms. P.L. Croker, Ms. J.Y. de Villiers, Mr. F.A. Msibi, Mr. F.I. Mungunza. The College of Education Honors Awards, Mrs. A.H. Hadid, Ms. K.A. Bailey, Mrs. L.M. McGee, Ms. L. Mkiza, Mrs. P. Thomas, Ms. C. Deventer, Mrs. E. M. Avelinges, Mrs. H. C. Tom, Ms. C. E. Malherbe, Ms. L. A. Espinace, the College of Education Masters Awards. Mrs. M. Algra, Mr. C. Maposa, and Ms. S. L. Grimm. The College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences Honors Awards, Ms. S. G. Nicoladay, Ms. S. J. M. Kruger, Ms. S. Pillay, Ms. O. R. Moodley, Ms. B. A. Leroux, Ms. M. M. Naidu, and Ms. E. L. Brentford. The College of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences Masters Award, Mrs. N. Lishabane, Ms. G.K. Sadiki, the College of Accounting and Sciences Honors Award, Ms. M. C. Duplessis, Mr. M. M. Parker, Ms. E. K. Rambachan, Ms. L. Grantham. As we honor our postgraduate students awards, and indeed, the awardees have worked very hard and deserve this kind of recognition. We celebrate you and we thank you for all the hard work. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Prof. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to take this opportunity and invite all of you to join me in once again congratulating all the recipients. And now we've come to the end of our proceedings. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Den Musia, the Deputy Chairperson of the University Council, to offer us the closing remarks and the vote of thanks.
Program Director, good afternoon. Professor Puleng Lenkabula, the Principal and Vice Chancellor of the University of South Africa, our distinguished and most valuable guests, members of UNISA Council present here today, members of the academic staff from various colleges of our institution, members of the executive management and support staff, our lovely students, and all members in attendance, parents, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contribution of those who worked hard and smart to make this 2021 academic year a success despite all the challenges and the pandemic that we have gone through in the education sector. Let's just very briefly look at the 2021 academic year at a glance, ladies and gentlemen. We have really come to an end of yet another eventful, challenging and yet rewarding academic year 2021. For the past 2 years, the world and the higher education sector in particular has been facing an unprecedented public health crisis in the form of COVID-19. Almost every facet of life has had to contend with the demands of a new normal, which called on humanity to adapt and for the institutions to ensure business continuity. It has been through the sheer indomitable human spirit that we all could see opportunity in the midst of a crisis. It has also been through the genius and advances in technology and medical science that we could find solutions and get on with the business of life. Throughout the year, we experience high and lows in pursuit of academic excellence and institutional sustainability. Our greatest losses as a country and as UNISA are the people we lost to COVID-19 and other causes. To those we lost, we dip our banners. We thank and salute them for their immense contribution to the success of UNISA. May their beautiful souls rest in eternal peace. As I said, 2021 academic year has been eventful and rewarding. We have achieved many milestones to keep UNISA as one of the leading sites of academic excellence with a meaningful impact in the South African community and beyond. Amongst many others, we celebrate the following highlights. The inauguration of the first Black female Vice Chancellor and Principal, Professor Puleng Lenkabula, after 148 years since the founding of UNISA. Improved overall performance in global rankings with improvements in overall weighted score and in each of the 5 dimensions, namely teaching, research, citations, international outlook, and industry income. This resulted in UNISA moving to position 949 for the 2022 ranking. Growth in the number of articles published in the College of Human Sciences, that is 223 plus 13 conferences, proceedings, and 123 accepted articles. 68 book chapters published, and 10 books published, and 77 NRF rated scholars. 15 CEDU scholars were recognized among the top 10,000 in AD Scientific Index 2021. The many master's and PhD graduations of young and old students, as well as some of our outstanding personalities in this beautiful country. UNISA's Dr. Salary Musebi, who worked with mineral research giant Mintech to develop rapid antigen detecting and antibody detecting tests with a remarkable 20 minutes turnaround time. Numerous awards and grants for our excellent research work, which has a meaningful impact in communities. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, the many conferences and public deliberations, events that keep UNISA scholarship engaged on issues that matter for our development and collective future. Let me take this opportunity to thank the recipients of the Graduate Excellent Awards as well. Once more, Professor Lenkabula, I feel honored and proud to have the opportunity to present a vote of thanks on this academic year end and function, and indeed a special day for the recipients of the Excellent Awards that we have observed earlier. This yearly award ceremony is among the most special occasions of the university year end. It provides us with an opportunity to reflect on the preceding year, address the whole university community, and share the achievements of both the students and staff, their parents, and stakeholders respectively. Allow me, Madam Chair, Vice Chancellor, to say, every special moment ends, and this occasion is no exception. We participate in the journey of life. Who knew that we were making these memories every moment we spend at UNISA. Moreover, I sincerely hope that the recipients will take home the memories of their best performance in 2021 through their awards that they truly deserve. As a council, we are proud of this and more other achievements of our UNICEF. We have no doubt that you found the year as challenging as it was rewarding. We hope we can all take the lessons and momentum of this year to 2022. I wish to thank all our staff and our dear students for the great effort and commitment that they've made this year. I hope you have a restful and safe summer break and return to UNISA to shape Africa's intellectual futures in your commitment to realizing the academic project. I thank you.